Hey everybody, welcome back. We are looking again at the NVIDIA GeForce N6200 512 DDR2 AGP card here. This one, if you'll remember, needs the capacitor resoldered to the board. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and just tip the existing capacitor back into place. Oh, and as you can see, the pole just bent on it there, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can get it reset once we desolder it off the board, and then try and get it reconnected. Now, if we end up needing a new cap, I do have other caps, so we'll start by trying to reuse what's on there, and then see if we can get it reset, and then eventually we'll test it out in one of our AGP capable towers. Okay, so I've got the soldering iron heated up here, and we are at about 425 degrees Celsius. So we are just looking to quickly desolder this last pole here. And I apologize, I'm having to work around this camera. So I'm hoping that was enough. And again, my soldering stand here is not anchored, so I'm kind of having to hold that while I'm working. So really trying just mostly not to burn my fingers at this point. Likewise, I don't want to damage the board. So I'm hoping that'll be enough to free this cap from its position, but having a little trouble doing it like this, so I'm going to go ahead and get it removed and go from there. Okay, it took a little doing, but after much wiggling and trials and tribulations, we got this old cap out. Now, from all the wiggling, I think I may have damaged the cap, so rather than reusing it, we're going to go ahead and replace it. Now, I have a whole cap set, and I'm gonna think that they're probably not exact because my caps are all going to be newer, but we should be able to find the same rating. Let's go ahead and see what we can find for replacement. Okay, and we had a direct replacement, so we will go ahead and feed the leads through. Now, the tough part is I have to remember exactly where the negative pole was. So the bottom hole here is your negative pole. You can see it's nicely marked on this one as well. And, fun fact, positive lead is longer. So go ahead and feed this through. There we are. And we've got the leads fed through there. So the first thing we'll do is bend those off like so, just so we have a little room to work, and then we'll solder it in place, trim the leads, and we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera here so you can get a better look. Alright, so we have a nice shot of the leads there for you. And I'm going to have to work around the camera, so forgive my poor soldering here. Oops. And that's typical me. I think I hit the solder pad with that one. It's a little tough to see when you're not looking at it from the right angle. I'm trying to sort of look at it through the camera, which is not really helping. Okay, I think I think we've got a pretty good base there. I think we're actually soldered in place. I'll just touch this up just a smidge. Alright. Just make sure it doesn't poke through or wiggle out. Alright. Not the prettiest job in the world, but it will function. Let's go ahead and trim those leads, and then we'll see if we can find an AGP board to try it in. Alright, we'll use ye old faithful needle nose. Trim these leads off. And it's Old Faithful. Whoops, sorry for bumping the camera there. It's Old Faithful because it's nice and rusty and likes to stick to things. But it'll do. And of course my trim job's not perfect, so we're going to have to clean that up just a little more. But we've got a pretty good start there. And I see now, this is the good part, so when I get a nice look up close, I don't know if you can see it there, but my solder is actually pulled away from the base there. Well, obviously we don't want that because it's not making any connection. So we've got the soldering iron still hot just for these occasions. Let's go ahead and see if we can't anchor that just a little bit better there. I'll just bend this a little. A nice working space close to that solder pad. Hopefully. Again, this is mostly me working around the camera, so that's why it's not going so easily. And I keep wanting to grab the soldering iron by the hot part, which is obviously not what you want to do. Okay. All right. There we go. Now we are officially connected to the solder pad correctly, and we should be able to trim the rest of those leads off safely. All right, so the fun thing about working on stuff all the time is you lose the proper tools. But I have this neat little cutting tool, which should work better than this, but I'm working around the camera. There we go. Again, not perfect. Oh, and again I see we're actually pulled away from the base. I wonder if that's just a issue with this solder pad. Could very well be. The problem is the lead's too short on the other side to solder it from the back side. So I'm going to give it one last blast here with the soldering iron. And hopefully that'll be enough to make all the connection we need. I don't know how much this cooled down in the last few seconds while I was looking for my cutting tool. So I'm hoping that there's enough heat that this doesn't end up being the never-ending job. There we are. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see it then. Oh, see, it broke free right away. I think we're just going to be extra cautious and just add a big glop on there, just to be sure. I know it's not pretty and probably far from proper, but in some cases you have to be improvising when you're talking about salvage goods. So let's get this cleaned up and get it in a computer.